Movie stars, celebrities are being bullied, disallowed from saying what they wish to say, never sharing their thoughts aloud. That's the claim. Today, we'll tell you what we think of it, because there's a war brewing between stars of The Office, Ricky Gervais, Rainn Wilson, the original Michael Scott, the secondary Dwight Schrute. But what's true, what's not? We'll tell you if the movie stars are being bullied by you. What a day, what a day, what a great day. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the best day ever to be alive, and we're striving to bring you the latest news out of entertainment. Why? Because it matters truly, and yours truly right here, along with a panel of excellence, is going to divvy up what's happening from the Hollyweirds. As we dive in, click that like button, share, subscribe, and let's dive in right now. Celebrities are being bullied into silence. Well, maybe not so. The people who say that anything against their truth is violence, we have a little bit of cynicism there. That Park Place is covering this. Trevor Denning, the fantastic author, the Office star, that would be Mr. Dwight Schrute. No, it's not Dwight Schrute. That's not his name. It's Rainn. He blasts Ricky Gervais, the original The Office guy, for telling celebrities not to talk about politics. What's this about? Well, it says the Office actor Rainn Wilson is pushing back against Ricky Gervais's most famous arguments about celebrity activism, declaring that actors have every right to speak out on political or social issues, despite the British comedian's long-running criticism. All right, well, we've actually got this. We've got the podcast. We're going to pull it up now. This is off of Soul Boom, which really should be a 1970s band, but Soul Boom, I thought it was Pancakes at one point. I can't keep up anymore. I used to pay attention to this sort of thing. But Rainn Wilson is doing a podcast here, and he's doing an interview, and here is what they had to say, folks. We'll play just a clip of it, and then we're going to talk about whether this is right, wrong, and I think we may go into some areas that will surprise you.
Like what they're saying. Some of that, sure. I mean, actors get bullied when they speak outside their lane. That's very true. They get really bullied culturally by whoever's doing that.
Yeah. One of the things that pisses me off to no end is Ricky Gervais saying, just take your actor award. No one wants to hear what you have to say. It's like, F you. Yeah. Guess what? Everyone gets to say what they want to say about anything.
Yeah.
Gaza, climate change, politics, you get to say it. If you're a truck driver, you get to say it.
Yeah.
If you're a school teacher and you're winning an award.
Living in this country.
We have free speech. And, you know, if people don't want to hear it, they don't have to give you an award.
And he's never put any limits on his speech.
All right. Let's go here. Jonas, I'm going to turn to you first.
He was saying at the awards ceremony, no one actually cares what you have to say, and it only works to offend the audience. So he was correct in what he said. Gervais said, I get it that people want to be able to speak their mind, but you know what? There's about 350 million people in the United States, and most of them have to work for someone else. And while they're at work, they're expected to not make blatant political statements while at work. Or it might be wise not to say those things around people at work that have the exact opposite political opinion as you. So, you know, I actually think it's a little bit of sharing the decorum and sharing the polite society here to not use the platform that is part of your business, because your business is what gets you these awards, to not take that moment to say to the audience, actually, I despise you and everything you stand for.
So I think, and I think we're going to agree on this, Jonas, I think that Ricky Gervais was not saying you're disallowed from giving your opinion. He was saying it's unwise to give this particular type of opinion when you're not connected with the people who actually endure what it is you're talking about, because you don't have any connection to it. You live above it. You live behind the ivory walls. I don't understand. I think they've misunderstood what Gervais was trying to say. Christian, is that your position? Because I don't think anybody's telling them that they must shut up, that they're not allowed to speak. I think everybody is saying it's unwise if you don't have these experiences for you to speak as someone who is an expert in the area of these experiences.
I really like Rainn Wilson. I think he's super talented.
Me too.
When he speaks, he's very interesting and thoughtful.
Yes. Yep.
And he's not a typical celebrity. He's got this whole subject completely wrong. Completely wrong. First of all, what Gervais was saying is, when you're getting an award for acting in X movie or Y TV show, it's not really like Jonas said, it's not culturally appropriate to switch gears and say, Free Palestine. It makes no sense. If you're having a conversation with a friend over coffee, you wouldn't blurt out something like that. It's like if you go on a first date, you don't talk about abortion, you don't talk about politics. It's that sense of this is the wrong place at the wrong time. That's one thing. Two is these people aren't very smart and they don't have great thoughts and they haven't been really working it through when they say these things. So even when they come out and say something, it's often dumb. It's often ill-informed. So he's not saying you can't say anything, but the thought of an actor who has no knowledge, no background, no sort of connection to these issues, all of a sudden raising issues in a weird place at a weird time rubs people the wrong way. And the arrogance of it is what Ricky Gervais was skewering, which is why we're still talking about that monologue. I think it's about 6 years later because it was so on target. So I love Rainn Wilson. I think he's completely wrong here. And by the way, no one's bullying any of these celebrities. Bullying is when you can't get work and you have to kind of apologize for sharing your opinion. And that's what conservatives face in Hollywood all the time. And no one says they're bullied.
No, that's what I was going to ask you about too, Christian, because there is one group that was actually struck from civil society, like from the digital space. And the digital space is where everything is. And that was conservatives in the pandemic and post-pandemic years. Sharing certain beliefs meant you were eradicated from the only place where the market is growing exponentially. So goodbye prosperity, goodbye future. And nobody cried from that side for the conservatives.
Nope.
And now the idea that they're being bullied because somebody says, when you get your little award, you know, just get the award, say thank you, and go back to your seat. Like it's silly to me.
Yeah, it's really. And by the way, remember when Matt Damon said something very sensible? He said Harvey Weinstein's crimes versus Al Franken taking a photograph where he's holding a woman's chest area. There are gradations of this Me Too situation. And he was bullied so aggressively. He said, I'm going to go away now. He's Matt Damon. He's an A-list star. They bullied him. So this is all silly.
This year, Timothée Chalamet comes out and says, you know, I'm not going to do ballet. I'm devoted to doing things that make a lot of money. I really want to please the audience. That's where my focus is. Yeah. He's not trying to be mean to any of these other things. He's just saying, I'm not a niche product guy. I'm a broad, wide audience, broad market kind of guy. They brought a plaster mold of his buttocks on stage at an award ceremony and spanked it and mocked him nonstop on stage. Like of all the people to come out and say, we're being bullied, oh, leave us alone. No, you guys. So if you can dish it, you can take it. That's what I say. Ron, your thoughts on celebrities? Are they being bullied? Maybe there's something we're missing here.
Well, I was going to say, even going back to what you were talking about, I don't even think it was conservatives specifically that were ostracized in the early 2020s. I think it was just anyone who was outside of a very particular narrative. If they posted something on Twitter, if they posted something anywhere online that was outside of a particular, I don't know who agrees upon that narrative, you know, in that Hollywood bubble, but, I didn't like that, so you're out. I mean, when I look at what happened to Gina Carano, for example, there is no better example of bullying that I could ever see from a company who at that time had just created a key called inclusion. And clearly that wasn't about your belief system or any or even opinions. We're not going to include people that have certain opinions. It literally made no sense to me whatsoever. Of course, that situation's now been resolved, and she won, fairly. But it's like what Ricky Gervais was saying in that particular instance. It wasn't bullying whatsoever. It was saying this forum is not the appropriate time or place. Rainn Wilson wants to talk as much as he wants to about whatever his opinions are. That's fine, or any Hollywood celebrity. When they're invited onto perhaps a news show, it could be CNN, it could be Fox, it could be anywhere. But that's, I just feel like there's an appropriate time and place for that type of thing. And of course, we know that these award shows have been usurped by this kind of ideology for decades, going back to, and I can't remember her name, but I believe there was a Native American or a symbolic Native American that came on stage in like the 70s or 80s in the middle of the Oscars.
Because Marlon Brando refused to accept his award and made a stink about it. Yeah.
Exactly. So it goes back a long time. And when people are watching, when an audience is watching an award show, it should be about, hey, I want to celebrate the award that this person got for doing the job that they did, not, hey, I'm going to accept this award and then give you a very particular, my version of how things should be in the world. That's just not the appropriate platform for that, in my opinion, because it turns the audience off. And I think that's what Ricky Gervais was talking about, is you don't do things that are going to turn the audience off, because, hey, guess what? Aren't we all here to make money? And this will make more money if it has more views and the advertisement gets paid for. That's just how it works.
And I do want to defend, again, Rainn Wilson a little bit, because as Christian said, he is a deep thinker often, and he comes at things in an avant-garde way. And he often comes to conclusions that are very different from his Hollywood, patriots and compatriots. He has defended people of faith in the past, said we are wiping them out of Hollywood, and that's not okay. And so I don't want to take one miscalculation here and use it against him, because I'm going to miscalculate it, and I don't want to be wiped out. There's going to be a time when I say, boy, I wish I could take that back. Culture, I'm going to put this as simply as I can, and maybe you can ride with this, and we can figure out the best place to be. I think what is being conflated by Rainn Wilson and his guest on his podcast. Yes, the taxi driver, the Uber driver can say whatever they want to say. That's correct. However, if I get stuck in that Uber or in that taxi and they start going off on crazy political conspiracies that I don't agree with, or they start talking about Middle Eastern stuff and I'm on the other side of that and I don't agree with it, I'm going to despise that ride with them. And I think that for the past, generations, we have all been stuck in the taxi cab Uber with Hollywood celebrities. We just want to go to see the darn movies. We just want to see the award show. Our wives just want to see them in the dresses. And I'll be darned if we don't have to be, this conversation shoved upon us, and we have to address all of this nonsense that they don't understand. And that makes it a very uncomfortable ride for their industry.
Yeah, and I don't think that you could have chosen a better analogy, because my whole point about
I appreciate it. We'll invite you back next week again. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. But I think that this is just Rainn whining. And this is we get this from Hollywood all the time. I want to be able to say what I want to say, but I don't want to hear your criticism. So it's like the Uber driver saying, well, I'm going to tell you all about, whatever controversial subject it is, whether or not you agree with it or not. And I'm not going to expect a rating to reflect that I made this ride mercilessly uncomfortable for you. And look, I'll tell you what, I have downrated Uber drivers and Lyft drivers multiple times, despite having, for fun done that job, to pass time because I was bored, not because I needed the cash. I know that's a unique thing that I did, but it was, just fun for me to drive around and talk to people because I like to do that, which is ultimately probably why I ended up here. But I'm just going to say, one thing I never did was do anything other than ask questions. Because to me, a cab ride should be a solicitation opportunity for the driver, and that's it. You ask questions, you engage the person, it invites a conversation, and it also usually results in a bigger tip, a better rating, et cetera, et cetera. If the person enjoyed that trip, they are going to favor you and what you do going forward. And if you're a movie star or a television film star, I think that you should be playing to your audience all the time. There's never a point you're off stage unless you're in your own house. The minute you step out into the world, you're dressed to the nines. Why? Because the world's your audience. And trying to pretend otherwise on your podcast is dang silly. And yeah, he's off base here, but I've appreciated him for a very long time. I really am one of probably the 5 people that enjoyed The Rocker. Very strange. But I'm just going to say that at the same time, stop making it difficult for me to separate you from your art. And I think, people are like, well, you should be able to do that. I'm like, no, if you go up against some of the most controversial subject matter and then you whine about being criticized for it, that's not bullying. You're being precisely, actively, and correctly, admonished for your opinion by someone who doesn't agree with you. That's not bullying. And this is another big problem with progressives. they want to have just their truth expressed, not the actual truth, not objective truth, but they want their subjective point of view to be treated with honor and dignity, but they don't want to honor or dignify anybody else's opinion on any matter. And that's it. Yeah.
Culture, what do we call the idea of no objective truth, but just my truth? It's all, everything is subjectivity and everything is about narrative power.
You mean the lovely neo-Marxist movement we've been suffering in this country for a while. Yeah.
Post what culture?
Postmodern.
Post-rational. Yeah.
Well, yeah, any of those will apply, but yeah. Yeah,
we say nay to the post-truthers. Folks, we love Rain. We didn't want to do an entire segment and just absolutely rain on the parade of the man. He's great. And remember, as always, folks, we are here to say we will stand in defiance of Ricky Gervais if he ever tells us to stay silent in regards to Bears. Bears beat beats. Or is it beats beat Bears? I don't remember.
Beats in Battlestar Galactica.
Amen, brother. Well, it's been a good time. It's been a great time, folks. It's been a groovy time, even. Keeping the Holly Weirds in line. We know them better than they know themselves. As we say goodbye, folks, please consider clicking that like button, drop a comment down below, and join the community dialogue today. And until the next time, we say it every time. Keep learning. Keep growing. And as always, keep having fun.